Hey guys, doing something a little different today. I am popping in here to answer one of our most frequently asked questions. We get a ton of questions on the channel and I want to take an opportunity each and every week to answer one question in a lot of detail. And don't worry, if this is not your cup of tea, we will be back on Sunday with a traditional vlog. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into our number one asked question: how do we live and work from the boat? If you are new to the channel, or maybe you just haven't heard, Charles and I both work full-time jobs from the boat. And we did it really successfully for our entire time in the Bahamas. Now, there were also some tough decisions that we had to make along the way, but why don't I first tell you what we do, and then we can get into all of that. Charles works a very traditional job, your basic 9-to-5er, in front of a computer, talking to people all day long. And he worked there for 2 years before we bought the boat. But his company is a little bit different in the way that they're a fully distributed company. They don't have a headquarters or a main office that everyone goes to every single day. Their employees live nationwide, from Washington to Florida. And everyone just works from their home office or from a co-working space nearby their house. So when Charles asked if he could work from his boat, the main question was, are you gonna have reliable internet? Now, everybody in Charles's company stays connected with tools like Slack and Zoom, so they're constantly chattering all day long on these online platforms. So it just wouldn't be acceptable for Charles to go somewhere where he couldn't be online. And that's why the Bahamas was just a great choice for us. It's really easy to stay connected there, and there's a ton of internet service providers that have pretty reasonable pricing for unlimited internet. And let me tell you what, we used a lot of it. A typical day for Charles has him getting on Slack and checking messages somewhere between 7:30 and 8 a.m. And by 9, he is in full work mode, and he stays that way until about 5 or 6 p.m. Every day he is utilizing Zoom to be on video calls, somewhere between 8 and 10 video calls a day. So when I say he's working, he is legitimately dialed in and working all day long, Monday through Friday. Now, thankfully his company is really supportive, and they get that things come up. People have doctor's appointments, people need to go to the dentist, people need to take care of their kids, people need to move their boat out of the way of an upcoming storm. So whenever we did have to move the boat, they were fully understanding that maybe we would have to take a couple of hours off here or there to make sure that we were safe. But you better believe, once that anchor got up, I was the one at the helm doing all the navigation, and Charles was still down below trying to get some work done. So that brings us to me. How in the world am I able to take time off in the middle of the day to helm the boat, get us from one place to another? Well, that's where some of those tough decisions really came in. Right before we bought the boat, I was about to start a job as a COO at a new startup in Atlanta, and I was really excited about it. But they needed me to be in the office every single day, and I just knew that that was not in line with our goals to live on a boat. So I had to turn the job down and start looking for an option that was going to A, make me happy, and B, bring in some money, and C, would be a remote option. And after looking around for a long time, I realized that's kind of a hard bill to fill. Charles got really lucky in the fact that he'd been working at his company for a long time and had built that trust over time, and they're just a company that operates really well in a distributed platform. Not everybody's like that, so finding these rare unicorns was kind of a tall order. So I started to get pretty discouraged when one of my friends bought a house, and I knew I wanted to get her a housewarming gift. So I hopped on Etsy, as one does when they need a custom personalized gift, and started looking around. And I saw all these artists creating beautiful house portraits for people, and I was amazed by how many people were out there doing this, and the variation in the work, the variation in the prices, and just the general world of owning your own business and creating something for those in need. It was just a really fascinating idea to me. So I decided to take a stab at making something for my friend. I got a picture of her house and I went to work. I started watching YouTube tutorials and Skillshare tutorials and Photoshop tutorials and bought new software and really went down this rabbit hole so I could create a custom piece for her and her husband. And let me tell you what, I don't have any artistic ability, like none. My artistic ability before this was stick figures during a game of Pictionary. So I really went outside of my comfort zone to make this, and the result was just really charming. So when I gave it to her, she couldn't believe that it was something that I myself had created. And she immediately asked if I could do some work for her friends and her family. So that's where my Etsy business came from. Once I got it set up, within a couple of weeks, I had more orders than I could handle. We had kept having to raise the price over and over again just so that we could tamper down demand. And within a couple of months, I had a pretty successful business going on. Sometimes I even had to shut my store down because there were just so many orders coming in and the demand was so high. It was incredibly rewarding, and it was a job that I really liked doing, I could do from anywhere, and brought in a reasonable amount of money. Now, does Etsy pay the same amount as my management jobs in technology? Absolutely not. Nowhere close. But we decided that we were going to go all in on this boat thing, and that meant making some sacrifices, including the uncomfortable decision to cut our family income. So that's it. That is how we live and work aboard our boat. Now, a couple of tips and tricks if two people are trying to work in one small space. And the number one thing that you need is headphones. Charles is on calls all day long, and it's really obnoxious to try and focus while you're hearing a two-sided conversation going on between him and his work colleagues. We make sure that he is always talking into a pair of wireless headphones so that I can only hear one side of his conversation. And then I put in my noise-canceling headphones to make sure that whatever I hear is at least somewhat grounded out. I've found a lot of good podcasts over the years. So if this is something you're considering, if you really want to move on to a boat but you're just not ready to retire, I can tell you it is possible. It takes a little bit of work and dedication, and no, you're not going to be swimming every single day. Unfortunately, some days you are going to be nose to the grind doing some work, but it's absolutely possible. My advice to you would be to just be really open and honest with your current employer. Maybe they'll let you do what Charles does, but you need to make sure that they understand that there's going to be circumstances where they're going to have to be kind of flexible with you. And maybe they're not interested in doing that, and you're going to have to think outside the box like I did. Just because you can't do something today doesn't mean that you can't grow and learn and expand your skills and come up with a new way to earn an income. There are always options out there. It's just, are you willing to get a little uncomfortable, and are you willing to make a change? Because if you are, I guarantee you can make this work. Trust me, we're nothing special, and we made it work. So I know that you can too. All right, that wraps up this week's question. If you have a question for a future week, please pop it in the comments below. If I didn't touch on something about our jobs or how we make things work, go ahead and put that in the comments below as well. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. That's the best way that I know that this information was helpful to you and to do another one. And if you're new here, please subscribe. We'll be back on Sunday with a new vlog. Bye guys.